Hello guys, Crispy here, welcome back to another Sunday video. In this one, my friends, I'm gonna be testing the fastest GPU from AMD, the RX 7900 XTX. Now, this GPU released in 2022, it's nearly 2 years old at this point. Can you believe that? That's crazy, right? Now, going over the specs, it is based on the RDNA 3 architecture. It has 6,144 shading units, 384 TMUs, 192 ROPs, a beautiful 24 gigabytes of GDDR6 VRAM, that's a lot, same amount as the RTX 4090, and it's running on a 384-bit memory bus. It's also rated for 355 watts TDP, but this model right here, the XFX MERC 310 version, is around 8% overclocked from factory, and it consumes around 400 watts on average while gaming. That is a lot of power. Finally, it released for $999 MSRP, so $1,000 basically, which is a lot for a GPU. And these days you can find it for around like $900, sometimes $850, but here in Europe I have been seeing it at around like €1,000. That is a heck of a lot of money. But let's install it in the system and see what it does in some games in 2024. Shall we? First up is the gorgeous Red Dead Redemption 2, a masterpiece from Rockstar. Let's go over the settings first. I am playing at 4K resolution using basically maxed out settings aside from a couple of things, and that's the water physics, because if you set it to the maximum it just breaks your FPS completely, and the tree tessellation down here as well. Everything else is set to the max, and as you can see it is looking absolutely fantastic, aside from the TAA, but it's 4K resolution, so even TAA looks good here, and it's getting pretty high FPS. I thought it was going to be a little bit slower than this for some reason, but yeah, it turns out it will provide an awesome experience here at the 4K resolution. Let's see if we can find Jack in this one. Maybe he's here because he might like this GPU. I don't know. Also, look at that power drop. Yup, pretty high here, but well, that's what you expect from a top-of-the-line GPU from AMD, as well as NVIDIA. Alright, Jack should be somewhere around here. I haven't heard him yet, though, so maybe he's not. Yeah, I don't think so, guys. Well, at least I'm still going to try some GTA 5 in this video, so we will be able to see him. But let's keep on going, because I'm headed to the most intensive town in this game, and I'm curious to see if it will drop from 60 FPS. And here's Bob. Come with me to Strawberry, my friend. Oh, wait a second. Will the other guy run him over if I stay here? No, okay, of course not. They're not murderers like I am, I guess, in this game. Here we go, guys. This is Strawberry. It's still not dropping. It's still in the upper 80s in the FPS, but now it's starting to drop down into the 70s, as you can see there. Let's go. 70s, lower 70s, and mid 70s at times in worst case scenario. That's extremely good. And on high refresh rate 4K panel here, it is feeling fantastic. Like, this is one of the best experiences that I've ever had in Red Dead Redemption 2. And I bet even Bob liked it, despite the torture. Let's move on to the second game. Next is something more recent, Horizon Forbidden West at the 4K resolution using FSR 3 native AA, so it's still native res, and the maximum settings right here. And look at that, guys, this is the Burning Shores DLC. It's the most intensive part of the game, okay? Basically, the entirety of the base game will be at higher FPS than this, and still, it's skipping up into the 60s, guys, and even 70s at times. It's not dropping. Yeah, this is pretty strong performance for native resolution with these graphics. Dropping slightly right now to 59 frames per second for a second there, but you know what? You can just enable frame generation on top of this, which works very well in this title because it's FSR 3.1's frame generation, and have really pretty visuals with like 100 FPS all of the time, basically. That's gonna be insane. So that's exactly what I'm gonna do right now. I'm gonna stop it there. And here we go. I'm gonna enable FSR frame generation. And whoa, it nearly doubles our FPS in this game. And once again, it's a really good implementation because this is FSR 3.1 right now. So latency is not really that noticeable either. It's a single player title, so it doesn't really matter too much. But we're above 100 FPS all of the time. time pretty much, and it just looks buttery smooth at the moment. There's no need to utilize the upscaling part of FSR. That's crazy, guys. That's really fast performance. I'm gonna go over here, look in that direction once again, because here is where it dropped the most previously. But as you can see, everything is buttery smooth. No frame time spikes at all. VRAM is completely enough, obviously, with 24 gigabytes. I would have no issues with this. This is truly that next-gen experience, 4K native. Wow. But what about an extremely intensive UE5 title? This is Black Myth Wukong now at 4K resolution using FSR set to 100%, so it's native res at the moment, and I'm using the Digital Foundry's optimized settings. And well, here we have it. It's below 60 frames per second, in the 40s very often here. This is a pretty intensive area as well. And also, guys, notice that the darker parts of the game, where there are shadows basically, they are way too dark, and this is actually broken. AMD says that with their latest driver, this game doesn't work properly whenever the global illumination is set to anything other than low. So, some driver issues, basically. But yeah, this is a bit annoying, so I'll just set this to low instead of very high here. And as you can see, it does improve our FPS like crazy. The shadows aren't as dark anymore, and there's detail inside of the shadows as well. But the game ends up looking a little bit blendier. Now let's take it easy with some Counter-Strike 2 at 4K using very high settings. The only thing I changed was MSAA. I disabled that, and the reason why I'm using very high instead of the usual low settings is because on low settings we would be completely CPU bound. That was absolutely terrible. Okay, I just noticed that I came from reviewing a 24.5-inch monitor, and now I'm back playing on my 42-incher, and it's not as good for a competitive game like this, you know, so I gotta get used to it again. Anyway, we should be able to do very good things here and get a lot of kills because FPS are very high still, even on very high settings, and the 4K resolution. Oh my god. You know what? Let's go with the AWP. I knew there was a guy right there. Damn it. Spawns. Alright, goodbye, sir. Goodbye. Come on, come on. There's another one. Oh, alright. I am back in action, my friends. Here we go. This is great. Okay, wait, can I get that one with the P2000? Nope, not really. Also, guys, the FPS are in the 200s most of the time, but the FPS are not locked, okay? I have unlocked them. If I look at the sky, you can see it going up to like 400 FPS sometimes. So this is exactly what the GPU can do under no CPU bottleneck scenarios. This is the way to test the GPU, basically, again. Okay. Ah! No more bullets! I'm fine. I'm fine. Let's go reload. Oh boy. Should we go with the Deagle, actually? Yeah, why not? Alright, let's get some 1 digs, my friends. What? 5 digs, 7 digs, whatever. What's important is that we land some digs, right? Come on, there we go. 5 seconds left. 5 seconds, 2 seconds, it's over, guys. We finished 4th place. Next up is Apex Legends. We're playing this one at the 4K resolution using maximum settings, aside from this one, which introduces a little bit of stuttering at the maximum setting. And as you can see, while dropping from the sky, which is usually very intensive, it's close to 200 frames per second. So it's not going to have a problem at all here at 4K resolution. And I kind of expected these kinds of FPS because with the RX 6900 XT, I was getting like 150 on average or something like that back in the days. I still remember testing it on that GPU, and well, now we get 200 plus. That is absolutely insane. Now, this game is actually capped to 300 frames per second. Yep, there we go. If I look at the sky there, you can see that it caps out at 300. Damn, guys, this reminds me of the 4090 days when I had that here to test it out. This is just, it's 200 plus all of the time, basically. It's kind of crazy, you know? It's more than enough performance, for sure, for anybody, I think. So buttery smooth. And finally, we got our ultimate ready. So I think I'm just gonna throw it out. Yeah, I guess around here it's dropping from 200 FPS. So it's probably gonna be a decent worst case scenario with a lot of explosions on screen. And in worst case scenario, it can drop like crazy into the lower 100s. And this is why you might want to play on competitive settings if you are a really competitive player here. What? I haven't seen anyone the entire game and it's only 2 squads left already. Me and another squad. You gotta be kidding me. Oh, okay. I will take this. But I still need good shields. I'm not gonna do anything with the default one. What are they doing there? You can't... What is going... Oh, hello there. An entire squad versus me with these shields? Yeah, maybe they don't give you shields anymore in loot packs and so on. And you gotta upgrade them. Hello. Well, I do have this thing in front of me, but of course that was gonna happen. Come on. Next is God of War Ragnarok, a recent game on PC at 4K using TAA native and the ultra settings. These menus are so hard to navigate, it's unreal. Anyways, what's not unreal is the engine, and that's why it looks so good, it doesn't stutter, and it performs so well at the same time. Like, look at this. I have already tested this game extensively on the 7900 XTX, by the way. If you're interested in more resolutions and more FSR 3.1s, frame generations, testing, and so on, I'll leave a link to it down below in the description. Actually, I'll leave a link in the playlist where you can find the God of War video as well as other game tests with more settings and so on. As you can see, it runs absolutely fantastic here at 4K resolution native with the ultra settings. It's maxed out basically at this point. But here is where I found it to be more intensive so far, okay? Back in the city area wasn't the more intensive part. In this little cave is where the FPS dropped the most. And as you can see, it is getting 80 still. Overall, this is an amazing experience. And if you need more FPS, all you need to do is enable frame generation and you'll get 100 plus FPS all of the time. Basically, this game, wow, it's so beautiful and so smooth. I like it. Next is Call of Duty Warzone at 4K resolution using 100% resolution scaling, so it's native res, Fidelity FX cast to sharpen up the image at 69% sharpness, nice. Variable rate shading is enabled, depth of field is disabled, everything else is set to the extreme graphics preset, so it's almost maxed out here. Let's start counting our FPS, it's getting 150s, 160s, and it should be a buttery smooth experience. I noticed that sometimes it was a bit stuttery when I first jumped off the plane, but right now it seems to have stabilized. Maybe it was just loading something. I did let the shaders compile, by the way. Oh, and this is a very nice place to test it, actually. Jeez, that's loud. Because where your FPS are going to drop the most is near water, and especially while shooting at water. As you can see, while doing that, it's dropping into the 110s, but it doesn't really drop from that, does it? Yeah, okay, lower 100s maybe is the lowest that you'll see with this GPU at native 4K resolution. That's pretty impressive. Also, guys, the deagle is just so beautiful in this game, actually. Oh, hi, hello there. I was hearing somebody. Okay. It's great, guys. VRAM allocation, though, I just noticed. Look at that, 21 gigs. What? That is crazy. But yeah, I'm noticing that this is a little bit faster than like a 4080 Super in this game. And that's the GPU that I use on the daily usually. I'm not sure though if that's gonna stay the same because, well, now I got this one. But I can say that the 4080 Super does consume quite a bit less power than this particular model of the XTX, so I'll probably keep using that one instead. And well, if you want a little bit of a different view now, over on top of this building, it's getting pretty similar FPS, 120s, 110s at times. Basically, as expected, this GPU is a beast to play Warzone with. Next is Forza Horizon 5 at 4K native resolution using the highest settings, max settings, alright? It's not even the extreme preset, I manually set everything to the maximum. Let's start counting our FPS. It should be a really smooth experience here. Not super high refresh rate, as you can see it's in the lower 100s, but it's totally enough for a game like this. I prefer to have every setting maxed out here at 4K, have all of that detail. Here we go, 330 kilometers per hour jump. Oh boy, looking back at the festival area, it doesn't really drop our FPS at all. It is flawless, guys. We're closing in on Bob's house because I crash there sometimes. Not that I like Bob and he lets me crash there. I literally crash my car into his house. Okay. And here we go. We're in the big city of this game, dropping down into the lower 100s, high 90s, mid 90s at times, looking fantastic with that water in the ground, my friends. Oh, that looks beautiful. Okay, this game, man, it's something to behold, especially on a 42-inch 4K monitor like mine, OLED. Oh, first time that I saw Forza on this monitor was just like, wow. Anyway, this is it, guys. Lowest FPS is 83 there. Getting out of the tunnel is the most intensive thing you can do in this game. So it's going to be stable and really smooth all of the time. Now we're playing Alan Wake 2, guys, one of the most graphically intensive titles on PC, and it shows right here. This GPU is only capable of achieving around 40 to 50 frames per second, although in one of the most intensive areas in the game, with a little bit of micro stuttering as well, as you can see in the frame time graph. So it's not a good experience. This is at 4K native resolution using the high preset, not fully maxed out settings, and no ray tracing as well, by the way. But the good thing is the FSR2 implementation in this game is actually pretty good, so let's set it to quality, which renders the game at 1440p and upscales to 4K. And this way, look at our frame times and frame rates as well. No more micro stuttering issues, and the FPS are actually quite high. So it was micro stuttering just because the FPS were below 60. Now it is mostly a very smooth experience, as you can see, and it shouldn't drop from 60 FPS from now on, because again, this is one of the most intensive parts of the game, this little forest area. Now, this is all without ray tracing, and this game actually has path tracing as well. That's one of the things that makes it one of the most intensive titles. If you fully max it out, it just wrecks any GPU out there, but obviously AMD isn't very good with ray tracing, unfortunately. So I'm gonna set the ray tracing to low, which doesn't introduce path tracing into the picture. Okay, it's still turned off right there, and this one is grayed out. And with ray tracing low, FSR quality, yep. Instead of getting 80 FPS, we're now getting 30s. It's not very good, guys. I'm curious though, what if we set it to medium? This enables path tracing. So this is with path tracing enabled, and Alright, this is where the NVIDIA GPUs also require like frame generation technologies for them to be playable, but once again, this does a bit of a worse job when using ray tracing. But hey, at least it works very well without it. Next is Cyberpunk 2077 at 4K using the Ultra preset without resolution scaling. It defaults to having FSR enabled, and I'm also going to disable motion blur in those three settings right here. So let's start counting our FPS. It's looking pretty good here at 4K native res, and I have already tried Cyberpunk in the Phantom Liberty DLC in another video. It's down below in the playlist once again, and that got a little bit lower FPS than what we're seeing right here, although this area is also very intensive by the looks of it, dropping down into the lower 40s at times. Damn, I wasn't expecting to see it that low, honestly. But yeah, guys, this is expected performance right here. It's not the best, but Cyberpunk on Ultra is very intensive. You should probably use high settings instead, but I showed and I went over a ton of different settings in that video that I mentioned. Anyway, goodbye, Bob! We're finally doing this! Oh yes, where is he, by the way? Which one is Bob? Everything bugged out for a second there. Anyway, this area is pretty intensive usually. It doesn't really drop as much as it did previously, interestingly. Usually I see the lowest FPS here in my benchmark run. But let's stop it right there, guys. Let's try it with FSR 2.1 on quality. This is actually better than 3.0 in this game. Yes, they messed up FSR3's implementation, and in this title, FSR 2.1 looks pretty good in my opinion. I would have no issues playing like this. Our FPS are finally well above 60 FPS all of the time here, and even in the DLC they will be. There is, however, a big issue with FSR 2.1. It's that it causes a bit of motion blur and ghosting around the car, but it's minor. I can live with that, and I would totally enable it to achieve 60 plus FPS. Now, this is another game that supports ray tracing, and although I would definitely not utilize it here with this GPU, let's turn it on to see how it does with quality FSR still. I'm just gonna disable these once again. Here we go. It's not as bad as it was in my separate video because I tested it in the DLC, which is much more intensive. And it's not as bad as Alan Wake because that was path tracing basically. So it's usable. This is Ray Tracing Ultra preset as well. And if you lock it to 30 FPS, you can play with RT, or if you run a lower resolution, for example, it's gonna be okay. It's just, once again, not as good as RT on the competition side of things. You know, the 4080 Super, which is the competition to this one, does do a lot better here when using ray tracing. But this one actually beats it in rasterization, so there's that, guys. Trade-offs everywhere. So you decide what's important for you. Now let's play something from a decade ago, GTA 5. It's still popular to this day, and we're playing at 4K using 2x MSAA and maximum settings aside from post effects, which introduces motion blur and bloom, and I don't like it. Advanced settings are also all enabled and maxed out. Let's go. Can't wait to see Jack, my friends. Honestly, I thought it was going to provide a little bit higher FPS, but I don't usually play with advanced settings enabled. That's probably what's killing our FPS. Those are very, very demanding. But still, even with that enabled, of course, this GPU gets insanely high FPS. Super high refresh rate here. Anyway, I wrecked my car already, right? I think so. It's not boosting as much as it was previously. But you know what? It's probably my chance not to hit anybody here because now my car is slow. Let's go. Say, get up. God, I missed. Oh, that wasn't on purpose, guys. Oh my gosh. I'm the worst driver ever in GTA. I don't even care anymore. You know what? We need this one. This one is a red car, AMD red. I mean, orange is also kind of AMD color, Ryzen. Why would you do that? Grassy areas are usually extremely intensive in GTA, and well, this is the case here in Jack's Hill. That's why I come here every single time, not to see Jack. I mean, yes, it is to see Jack, but a good thing he's also in the most intensive area. Hello, Jacqueline. I think it's Jacqueline. Well, I don't know what to tell you. We need to do this all over again. No, maybe next time we will see Jack, but let's kill Bob. That's the most important thing after all. Over here, it drops down into the 70s. Mid-80s sometimes, most of the time actually. Bob is not here either. Okay, so now I need to restart this, guys. There he is! Oh, beautiful! Hello, Jack! How's it going? Oh, I thought I wouldn't see you today. This is nice, guys, okay? It's a very nice day. I love this. And Bob... Starting to get worried, guys. Bob is probably uphill. I was too fast coming here today. I didn't crash against anyone, so yeah. That's probably what happened, right? There he is! Haha, you thought you could get away from me, Bob. Goodbye, Bob! Oh, boy. All right, we're good, friends. Now it's Battlefield 2042 at 4K using the ultra settings here. No upscaling. This is native res, guys. You know what, guys? I really like this map. It looks beautiful. Oh, boy, there's a sniper guy over there. Let's go. I really like the greenery and the blue sky here. Looks nice, doesn't it, guys? And it is buttery smooth. There's something about Battlefield titles that even at lower FPS, and I mean, not that these are low FPS, but even if we were getting like 50 frames per second, it's still playable, you know? And we're not maxing out like even a 120 Hz monitor here with the XTX, unfortunately. For that, all you need to do is to play on high instead of ultra, by the way. But it still feels, it's just, there's some smoothness aspect of Battlefield games that is unparalleled, basically. It's really, really nice. Like, you can't see a single stutter either. Yep. Die. Okay, there we go. We're fine. Sort of. Low HP, but we're fine. Let's go. We should probably push them bastards. You know what? I'm gonna flank them. Alright, another one down over there. Oh boy, the chaos is real, guys. Look at this. Explosions everywhere. You know what? I'm gonna go with my bazooka as well. Oh, hello there. Yes, we're conquering the objective, guys. We are pushing all of them back. Let's go. Good stuff. This is sick. Sometimes going back to Battlefield 2042 actually feels really, really nice, guys. I like it. It's not an amazing game, but it's not a bad one either. Let's go. These days, it's quite fun to play, in my opinion. Oh boy! So many. Now this is Rust, guys, and look at that VRAM allocation. 20 gigabytes almost. That's absolutely insane. We're playing it at 4K resolution using the ultra setting, or max settings basically, over here as well as here. Here I disabled vignetting and depth of field. It looks very bad in this game. Experimental are also turned on, and of course the most important setting of all, head bob, is turned off. So we don't have bob in this game, and that's great. You can disable it right there in the options menu. It also stutters a little bit, but that's just because it needs to load everything in the map, you know. By the way, in forest areas like this one is where you're gonna see the least FPS. Bandit camp usually gets around the same FPS as inside of big forests as well, so I'm not gonna go there because there's no bandit camp in this map actually, but we're gonna go to the outpost right there, okay? But yeah, guys, if you want to max out Rust at 4K resolution, you can clearly do that without dropping from 60 FPS. That is phenomenal, you know. I usually utilize DLSS to play this game, and, well, we don't really have it here, but again, we don't need it. It's just like in Battlefield. The FPS are high enough for an enjoyable experience. Here we are. This is the outpost area, and it's starting to stutter a lot more, actually, because it needs to load everything inside of here. But as you can see, it doesn't really drop too much. It goes down into the 90s, basically. Nothing that we haven't seen before in forest areas. So it's safe to say it's going to be stable, for the most part, without the stuttering, in all of the map here in Rust. It's a nice experience. Now, Elden Ring is a good example to see how it performs with a 60 FPS lock, because it's capped to 60 frames per second. And as you can see, that lowers our power consumption by quite a lot. Let's go over the settings. I am playing at 4K using maximum settings without motion blur. That's the only thing I changed. No ray tracing either, obviously. Like, that's not a good idea to enable with this GPU, okay? As you know already. And as you can see, it looks really, really detailed right now at 4K resolution. It actually looks pretty decent. Let's go over to this area, which is one of the most intensive ones in the entire game, even though you come across it like half an hour into it. Yeah, it's really, really intensive because it has a lot of vegetation in the same place, and it's getting 60 FPS locked, obviously, with just a tad bit higher GPU utilization than what you'll usually see, and that means that, look at that power usage, though, inside of the forest. Damn, it goes up into like the 300s. Okay, but as soon as you get out of that forest area, power usage drops down, and now it's around like 200, still peaking at 300 watts sometimes, a little bit of a stutter there. That'll happen from time to time in Elden Ring, by the way. It's just a game problem. Now, there are mods to unlock the FPS in this game. I don't do that because it actually starts stuttering a lot in my PC for some reason whenever I unlock the FPS, but I wouldn't really recommend you to do that because you're gonna spend a lot of time in Elden Ring, and if you spend like 50 hours here consuming 400 watts, yeah, it will add up to your power bill, basically. Next is Ghost of Tsushima at 4K using FSR3 native AA. This is not utilizing upscaling, it's just anti-aliasing. And I have manually set everything to the maximum here, aside from SSAO. And yeah, this is it. So it's basically max settings. It's very intensive, guys. I wasn't really expecting to see 70 FPS because this game is not badly optimized, but it seems like if you push everything to the maximum manually, it starts getting pretty intensive. Even on a 7900 XTX, it's dropping down into the 60s, and that means that it will likely drop from 60 FPS. Yeah, I wasn't really expecting that. Now, thankfully, this game supports FSR 3.1, so we can just enable frame generation here on top of native AA and achieve almost double of what we were seeing before. With minimal input lag here, it's not going to be noticeable at all. It looks really good like this. It's like native 4K resolution basically with that FSR-FG enabled. And I mean, it's still native resolution, of course. It's just adding some frame generation on top. So yeah, this is definitely how I'd play this game. No, you hurt Roach. I'm gonna kill all of you, you bastards. No. You know what? Maybe, since you didn't kill Roach, I will let you go. It's just stable. It's beautiful. It's smooth. It's a great experience. To be expected from an expensive GPU like this once again. Now let's play some Stutter Night at 4K using DirectX 12 epic settings, but I did disable the nanite virtualized geometry here because that enables ray tracing, and well, we all know this doesn't do very well with ray tracing. Actually, even with high-end NVIDIA GPUs, I strongly recommend against using Lumen and ray tracing in this game, nanite, because it makes it way more stuttery. And here, as you can see, it's not really stuttering actually, so that's good. I'm gonna start counting our FPS now that we're on the ground. Oh boy, it feels very smooth like this. It looks very good as well. My gosh, what the heck? Oh, there's another one here. Wait. Come on. Oh boy. No. Whoa, let's go. Where is he? Get over here. No, what the? I'm so confused about this game. Water looks great though with the little fishes. All right, I got out of there, guys. I was a little bit scared. I saw, yeah, there's a car over there. We're gonna grab that and move around the map with it. Hopefully I'll not die in the first 2 minutes of the match as usual. Oh boy. Oh, come on. That was so close to running him over. Get over here, you. No, you know what? I'm just gonna go this way. Now, this is extremely smooth. I don't think I have seen a stutter yet. I mean, sometimes frame time has a little spike that's not noticeable, but you know, usually this is Stutter Night and it has a lot more frame time spikes. I am impressed here, guys. Oh, more people over here. Oh, gosh, I keep missing these guys. Okay, there we go. All right. Where is he? Wait. Boom! Come on. Boom! Yeah, there we go. Wow, it feels really nice, guys. Now, I'm gonna stop it right there. This was unbelievably smooth for this game. I just don't understand why it didn't stutter at all. I even called it Stutter Night, right? And let's see, it does have XeSS. Interesting. Why no FSR? Okay, I guess I'm gonna try some XeSS on Ultra Quality, which is normally called quality because it's 66% resolution scale. Anyway, let's go. It's the same as DLSS quality in terms of the resolution scaling, and apparently we get around like 20% higher performance here. That 20% extra performance makes it so it will use a high refresh rate panel a little bit more effectively, you know. It's gonna be looking smoother for sure. Oh, out of fuel now. This area is really intensive, by the way, because it has a lot of vegetation, so it's nice to see it here in the benchmark run. Okay, I see more people. I see dead people because I'm about to kill all of them. That's it. 1, 2, and 3. Here we go. Beautifully smooth. Oh my goodness. And the game looks awesome at the same time with these settings. Now it's Helldivers 2, and this one, when it came out, had a bit of an issue running on AMD Radeon GPUs for some reason, and we're at 4K native resolution using the ultra settings. Actually, I maxed everything out over here, and it's still having a bit of an issue. Now, the FPS are okay, not what I expected, honestly. I was thinking it would run better than what it's running right now. This could be a very intensive area as well, though. Oh my god. So yeah, this is very unfortunate to see. At least now the game runs smoothly, because on release it was stuttering a lot on the AMD GPUs. Right now it's getting 60 plus FPS comfortably, you know, very close to 60 FPS, but thankfully this game doesn't really fluctuate too much when it comes to the FPS and the performance. So if you get 65 on average, it's unlikely that you'll see it drop from 60 FPS very often, although it can happen, as you can see right here. It's very, very close to the 60 FPS mark. Oh my gosh, come on, come on, come on, come on. Yeah, dropped there into the mid-50s actually. So you'll want to utilize some upscaling, I guess. Oh my goodness. Jesus, but see, even the explosions are well optimized. This game is super stable. Now let's utilize ultra quality render scale here. This makes it a tad bit softer, but at 4K resolution it still looks very good. And now you're very comfortably above 60 FPS the entire time. It won't drop at all. But yeah, I'm a little bit disappointed once again. It could have been better if it was a bit better optimized towards AMD GPUs. I'm not sure if it's the drivers or anything, but it is what it is. At least you can make it playable while looking 4K still. So it's not that big of an issue. If you want to become a Helldiver yourself with this GPU, it's gonna work fine. Now we're playing Hogwarts Legacy at 4K with TAA High and the Ultra preset. No ray tracing, no upscalers, just native 4K. And look at that. It's getting 80 to 90 frames per second here in the Hogsmeade area, which is pretty demanding, but it's more CPU bound than GPU bound. Where you're gonna see the least FPS if you are in a GPU bound system is near the woods and near some water as well. It gets pretty intensive there. So that's exactly where we're going. And let's make our little benchmark run as usual. Go below the bridge right here through the river. Not a problem, still above 60 FPS. This game is also an Unreal Engine title. It's UE4, so it stutters every now and again. Like, I just hate that engine, guys. Anyway, overall it's going to be smooth though. It drops into the mid-60s in worst case scenario. Now, you have the option to utilize some upscaling. FSR2 actually looks decent in this game, but XeSS is a little bit better, so I'm just gonna set it to ultra quality and see what kind of frames we can get. Instead of 65-ish, we're up into the 90s now. Whoa, that's a big difference, guys. Okay, play with XeSS. It looks basically the same as native resolution now. Anyways, this is it, guys, for Hogwarts Legacy. 84 FPS average, definitely very good. And those 1% lows are awfully close to 69, but not quite there. And it is conclusion time now, guys. I'll still have 3 more games running right here while we talk a little bit about the RX 7900 XTX. And what a beast this GPU is. For 4K gaming, it just breezes through most of the games out there. Obviously, there is the UE5 title here and there that it struggles with, and if you run ray tracing, it's not the best thing, really. But in terms of raw performance without any ray tracing, it is actually a little bit faster than an RTX 4080 Super, while having more VRAM at 24GB and also being around 10% cheaper depending on where you live. Now, is that enough to take on the RTX 4080 Super? I'm not sure, honestly. Like, this is a great GPU, no doubt about it. Both of these are. But the thing is, whenever you turn on that ray tracing, this falls a little bit apart compared to the NVIDIA card. This also consumes a lot more power, but maybe that's because of this particular model of the XTX. The XFX MERC 310 is a power hog. It's also a bit faster because of it, but yeah, 400 plus watts on average is a lot. And of course, the biggest thing, at least for me, I don't really care much about ray tracing or anything, is the upscaling, because I play at 4K and in the recent titles it is mandatory to have upscaling, unfortunately, because they're all unoptimized, and well, FSR isn't really the greatest. And while FSR 3.1 is actually pretty awesome and it closes the gap with DLSS by quite a lot, it isn't available in many of the titles. It's like in, what, 5 or 6 games at the moment. So if they manage to introduce FSR 3.1 into more games, that would be amazing, but that's down to the developers, of course. But yeah, there are pros and cons to each GPU. Of course, if you could buy this one for like 20% cheaper than a 4080 Super, I'd go for it. The 7900 XTX might fit your needs better than the 4080 Super. That's totally fine. You might have use for those 24GB of VRAM, which is insane that they put it on this thing. I like that. But yeah, that's been it. You saw the results in this video. The gaming performance was great. I really liked taking a look at it, and I can't wait to test it out again in this channel. So stay tuned in and let me know if you want a 1440p video with this card as well. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next one. Love you all. Bye-bye.